I'm here today talking to Sharon Louca and Katy Osborne, two members of the Woman Who Achieves Academy. Hello, ladies.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
It's great to have you both here today. And as you know, in Woman Who, each month we have a monthly theme. And one of those themes is networking. And who better to ask than Sharon and Katy? Sharon, who's involved in a women's business networking, and obviously Katy, who is an avid networker for her business KOVA Support. So, ladies, over to you. Sharon, first, you run a Women in Business Networking. How has networking helped you in your business and your own business growth with Women's Business Networking?
Yeah, it's definitely made a huge difference. It was the turning point for me running my own business, because when I started out I had no clients or contacts. So without the people I met and built relationships through networking, I probably wouldn't have a business, to be honest.
And Katy, it's quite similar for you in some respects. You started your business during a pandemic. How significant and important was networking for you?
Extremely important. I was fortunate enough to have been networking prior to starting up my business. So I'd already built the foundation and started relationships with other business owners. So that definitely helped me hit the ground running when I decided to fly solo.
I think a key word there is relationships, and quite often there's very different styles of people networking online, face-to-face, and different ways we interact with each other. But it is about building relationships, isn't it? How key are those relationships? And it's not an instant thing, is it? Then you have to nurture them over time.
Definitely. I think people buy people. So it's not just about selling my business or my services, whatever I can offer. It's getting them to know, like, and trust me. And that's been the key to building my business from the start.
And if you found that you've been networking for a lot of years, Sharon, I don't mean that in a derogatory sense at all, but it is about the relationships, isn't it?
Most definitely, yes. I think but a lot of people start networking and think they can go to one meeting, hand their business cards out, and they're automatically going to get business. Or they'll go a couple of times to a meeting, so I'm not going there again, nobody's giving me any business. So the crucial point is you need to build relationships. And as Katy said, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. Yeah. So it takes time to build those relationships.
And you obviously you've got your own network, but you attend networking events as well.
Yes, I do. Yes, yeah, because it's important for me to get the message about my group, but also about my support business as well.
So how do you choose and identify the networks you're going to, or the network events you're going to attend?
I choose the groups that I feel comfortable with and the people that are like-minded. I do a lot of women-only groups because I just find that the ethos and the atmosphere in those groups I do particularly enjoy. But I'm not exclusive to just women-only groups. I do mixed groups as well. But it is a matter of where you feel comfortable and where you feel you can really be your authentic self.
And how do you identify where you're going to network, Katy?
I have tried them all, I think, to be honest. I got told, try them all, find out where you feel like you fit, where you belong, who you gel with, and I narrowed it down to 3, which I love, and I don't think I really have time for any more than that, but I know that that's where I get my business from now.
And I think that's one of the key things I learned very early on, is that networking is time consuming. And when I first started networking, I used to go to the opening of an envelope. I used to be out everywhere and anywhere. And I felt that I needed to be everywhere and anywhere. And that's not the case. And obviously with Woman Who, I help you to find that you can be visible without being everywhere. But it's really important to identify those networking events where it's not going to take up your time. So how do you allocate time, Sharon, in the week to your networking?
I think the good thing now that there is a lot more online networking does make it a lot more productive use of your time, because like you, Sandra, I'd lose whole days networking, because by the time you've allowed the travelling and the time, then you haven't got any time to work. So it is it is really helpful now that we can network online. But yeah, it is working it around your own workloads, because obviously the work has to come first and earning the money. So it is a matter of allocating the time that suits you and the groups that you find most suitable.
And as we know, work does come first, the paying clients come first. But sometimes I find that people do book onto every networking event going and then don't attend any of them, because then they don't schedule the time in appropriately. The network events you attend, do you religiously attend them? You know, do you feel committed to them? Katie?
Yes, I think it's important. I think coming from an events background, it's important that if I've given a sort of commitment to a networking group that I attend, especially if it's face-to-face, so they can get an idea of numbers. And it means that you can create those relationships, and that networking group is important to you, important to your business. And the more you show up, the more you stick in people's minds.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about relationships, and we've talked about, Sharon, you mentioned, you know, people can't just go to one event and expect to come away. I remember when I was networking, when I was very new to business, and I remember going to an event and a chap come up to me afterwards and he said, well, how many leads did you get? How many sales did you get? And I said, it's not about that, it's about relationships. So, you know, it's very important, isn't it, Sharon, just not to think you can go to one event and that's it.
Definitely, yes, yeah. And I think the minute you try and sell to somebody instantly, me personally, that puts me off straight away. I'm even less likely to buy from you if you've tried to sell to me straight away, because it is the building the relationship that's the important part.
Yeah, so let's talk about some networking tips. And I think, you know, there are so many tips out there for networking face-to-face and online. But rather than me sharing all mine with you right now, I'd like to know some of your networking tips. Let's start with you, Katie. Can you give me a networking tip for our audience that you would like to share?
I think it's knowing your ideal client, building the foundation of a great business relationship, and actually taking an interest in what someone else does, and not just sort of thinking in your head that what can I do for them, as in service-wise. But yeah, building the relationship so you get to know one another on a sort of almost on a friendship basis.
It's not just walking into the event and saying, this is what I do, now what do you do? And that's it, is it? Yeah. It's about building that rapport over time.
Following it up. Definitely following it up.
Yeah, yeah. Sharon, what would be?
Yeah, I was going to say the same. It's similar. Definitely be prepared. Know what the format of the meeting is. Are you required to do a 60 seconds? And if you are, think about what your message is for that audience and what you want to ask for. Definitely, obviously, connect with as many people and follow it up, as you say. Follow it up afterwards. But as well, I find that if you can give to people first, then that's the real key, because givers gain, don't they? People will then be far more willing to look for opportunities for you when you've put yourself out and given for them.
Absolutely, that's so important. You know, give more than you expect to receive. I do believe in karma. I believe that eventually things will come back to you. But be the giver, be the sharer of information, be the introducer. You know, it's great to listen to somebody. And, you know, we were given one of these and two of these for a reason. We should be listening at networking, listening out for opportunities, listening out for those connections we can make to other people. I'm putting you on the spot here, ladies. You know, networking no-nos. You know, what would be an absolute sort of turn-off no-no for you if you met somebody at a networking event? Katie, sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
The hard sell, going in straight away, I do this, I do that. I think you should buy from me. That is a big sort of turn-off. And I think the barriers go up when something like that happens.
Yeah, great one.
And I think for me, it's perhaps going to an event and not feeling comfortable and feeling awkward and not feeling comfortable within the surroundings. I think it's important for myself hosting a meeting. I want everybody to be included, everybody to have a voice and feel comfortable. And So I
Yeah.
think that's important.
I've been to many years of networking. I think one of the worst ones was where a lady was rushing around the room, obviously intent to meet everybody, had the attendee list with a pen, and as she thrust the leaflets in front of me, she ticked me off her list and moved on to the next one. So I felt really valued, and I felt that she really wanted to get to know me, not. And as you say, feeling comfortable at an event, there's nothing worse, and I call it the third eye. If I'm talking to somebody at a networking event, at a face-to-face event, I've always got my third eye on the room, looking for that lost soul who's standing on their own, somebody that feels uncomfortable, somebody that is desperate to join, but you can tell is really nervous. And it's all about having that open stance so that the third person can, or fourth person can join the conversation and be a part of it. So obviously networking works for both of you ladies, and I can see that from the way your businesses are growing. You know, what sort of networks do you think are best right now? So for our audience, you know, we've got a mix, we've got face-to-face, we've got hybrid events, we've got online events. What's your preference right now, Katy?
That's quite a tricky one to answer. It's hard to say. I have really enjoyed the virtual networking, and to be honest, I've predominantly done a lot of that. But I do like people. I'm a people person, so I've really enjoyed the face-to-face. So potentially hybrid, the hybrid events that you can attend. So if, for example, you are under a time limit, then the option to join via Zoom is a great option. But if you know you have got the time to spend and meet people face to face, then I think that's great too.
Yeah, Sharon?
I agree. For myself personally, I think it will be a mixture of both online and hybrid events, because it is what works best for your time. So, I mean, prior to the pandemic, I'd only ever done face-to-face networking. I'd never done any online networking, but yeah, now I think it will be a combination of the two.
And I think that's common for a lot of people. You know, networking has moved on, and face-to-face events are coming back. But yeah, it's as an event organiser myself, I've realised that there is a need for the online portal, and plus the spread. You know, Woman Who would not be national had it not been for the pandemic. And that's opened up opportunities similar to yourself, Sharon. So I think there is definitely a way forward for both events going forward. Well, it's been great to hear your top tips, ladies. Is there anything you would like to share with the audience before we leave for today? To inspire them to go to networking events, or to do something with their networking, or a tip or a trick they can use?
No, I would just say find the networks that work for you. Try, as Katy said, try lots of groups. That's what I did in the very early days. Went to lots and lots of different networks, and then just find where you feel comfortable.
And focus on building the relationships. I think that's key.
Yeah, and mine would be have a business card with your picture on it so people remember you. That's something I picked up years ago, and it's definitely worked for me. Well, it's been great talking to Katy Osborne and Sharon Louca all about networking. I hope to see you at a Woman Who Inspires network or a Woman Who event very soon, whether that's online or face-to-face.